whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. It is the day before I meet Matthew McConaughey.
It is the last BM.
It is, yes. Tomorrow, though, it's the day I will meet Matthew McConaughey. I was trying to tell my daughter this morning. I'm like, you know what tomorrow is? And she has no idea, even though I've been talking about it nonstop. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited. That's going to be tomorrow. I will be here. I have a great interview also set up for tomorrow. About an issue that's very, very current. Remember we were talking about the Rockland Unified School District. It was back in March where one of the school board members was caught on video talking about wanting to bring more faith-based members to the school board. Okay, so this is how they infiltrate the school, right? And by they, I mean people of faith that take offense. Okay, I'm just going to say this. It's okay to be part of a faith and be part of a church. Most people are. I would say, though, but when you try to incorporate that into a public school, that's where people have a problem. So I'm going to be speaking with a woman who ran for the school board and lost, and she's running again, and just kind of her take on it. And how do you kind of reach across the aisle? We just saw yesterday, the Sunol School District just voted to ban pride flags at school. So we can kind of touch on that a little bit. But, that's going to be coming up tomorrow around 9:30 in the morning. I'm very excited about that. This show today, my man, Matthew McConaughey, he was giving an interview where he talked about being nervous about something. And he says that Jay Leno gave him 5 words that he continues to live by. And I'll give those to you. And when I read them, I was like, oh, yeah. That would totally work for me, because I think people kind of forget the 5 words, and so we'll discuss that. Just a little fun thing to do. I watched the VMAs with my. Do you watch the VMAs, Kim? Is that something that you do?
I didn't watch them. I think I saw a clip of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, literally, she won every single award that she was up for last night. I like to watch the VMAs, and now that my daughter is older, I like to watch it with her because she has the funniest commentary ever. Apparently Doja Cat is the devil. Like, my daughter's like, boo, she's the demon. And she's like, look, it's all red. So that was really funny. P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever. I don't know what he goes. Sean Combs. I don't know what he goes by anymore. He won the Icon Award. He looked like your grandpa dancing on stage. I never thought I would say that, but he looked old and it just looked tired, but I loved it because, my generation. But it was really, it was interesting to see. A lot of people are like, oh my God, get these people off the stage, or who the hell is this person, right? I'm sure you're going to be following in your news, Kim, the fact that Speaker McCarthy, we mentioned this yesterday, moving forward without a House impeachment inquiry. Did you see the video of Senator John Fetterman reacting to the news?
No.
So freaking funny. So I'll play that for you in a moment. And I have to get into it. I was beside myself laughing. I was annoying my husband so much yesterday because I could not. And it's so bad. And I don't think I could play you the video because, I guess we would just be dinged. But did you hear Senator John Kennedy reading from a book that he believes should be banned from school libraries? Now, I would say that if you want kids not to read these books, just have them listen to John Kennedy read this book, because it's just disturbing as all get out. And this whole idea of banning books, maybe I'll play it. I'll mull it over during Kim's headlines, but because I know definitely. Well, yeah, it's racy. It's not suitable. It's not suitable for work. So if we do the segment, either watch it with headphones, because if you blast it at work, Everyone's going to be looking at you like you're a little nutso.
That's
But
you,
this whole-
Harry.
yeah, exactly. Harry, make sure you got your headphones on. But it again, when you hear the writing, right, of this book, put it in the hands of a high schooler. Now, because I'm sorry, I think it's total BS. And even if it was, I think there is a total solution to this idea of banned books, and I don't want my kid reading a book with this language in it. There's an obvious solution, right? Which is kind of what I experienced when I went to the library. So we'll talk about that. Also, you were mentioning it was a politician yesterday, right? That wasn't elected, or something came out where they had an OnlyFans site. It was a politician, right?
They were having sex with their husband online for tips.
For tips. Okay, so now there's a meteorologist who made news a little while ago, a New York meteorologist, because his nudes were leaked. He
Oh,
lost his job. He was really upset about it. I guess he was on the up and up. Well, now he's ready to get back to work. His name is Eric Adame. He was fired from Spectrum News New York 1 last year, and he's trying to come back out and kind of be like, I'm ready to work again. Meteorologist.
those
Is it
pictures
the
never
kind of
go away.
thing?
They never go away. They're always out there. Do you want a naked meteorologist?
Oh, well,
Who's going to
maybe.
hire that guy? Maybe.
I mean, again, he can deliver the weather, Kim. It's not as if, and I would say, if TV news is all about them eyeballs, it would draw eyeballs, right? I mean, not like he's going to strip, but you'd be like, who's the meteorologist that had his nudes leaked? It might bring at least an initial interest, right? And then they're like, oh, I like how he delivers the weather, and I'm going to continue to watch it. So we'll get into that. And then finally, Grindr, which is like the Tinder for gays, which I did not realize came out before Tinder. I did not know Grindr was first. Grindr was first before Tinder. I did not know that. Apparently, it's losing half of its employees because they don't want to come back to work. So we have that. We have so much more to talk about, but I have to get some business out of the way, including a big announcement. So I've created the artwork, the little flyer, the online flyer. I'll be putting this on all my social media feeds. I didn't realize, and I think I'm going to line it up with this. What do you think? So it's September 13th. Sunday is the 17th. So October 17th of last year was our first show. So we're almost like a month away from our first show. So we're doing our mystery box online fundraiser for the show. And it's easy. I know it's small right there. I think I'm going to blow it up for tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't read it very well.
Yeah. So this is a chance to win a box of my favorite things. It's like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff, and a chance to meet me in person if you live within 50 miles of San Jose. I ain't going to Southern California. I'm not flying anywhere to deliver this box. It'll have to be shipped. But tickets are just $20, and you can buy as many tickets as you want. You have to use PayPal. The PayPal email is thenikkimedoros@gmail.com. Let me put it up there for you. So this is the PayPal email. It's $20 per ticket. When you make your raffle donation, you need to write in the comments, which you can on PayPal. This is why we're doing it this way. On PayPal, write raffle, and then I need an email address and a name. I need it because I want to send you an email to give you confirmation of your receipt that you're in the raffle. Okay. And all this money is just a fundraiser for the show. It's for our 1-year anniversary. So we'll do this for about a month. We'll be selling tickets. Although if we sell too many, I might end it a little bit early, but we'll give it away on our 1-year anniversary. So we'll do that as a big thing, but it's a fundraiser to keep the show going. We've done 1 year. We want to keep going, but this show needs to be financially sustainable. So we'll be doing some of these fundraisers, and we appreciate all of our Medorables. This is just a fun way for me to give back. My box is turning out to be pretty fun. It's a bunch of my favorite things. And so, yes, it's $20 per ticket. You can buy more than one, but send it through PayPal. Make sure it says raffle and your contact information. I need at least an email address so I can confirm with you that I've received the money. And then, of course, if you win, to notify you that you have won, even though, of course, we'll do it live, but people might miss it. So again, the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. The box of our favorite things, mystery box, is something that you can win, plus a chance to meet me as I personally deliver this box to you. Again, if you live within 50 miles of San Jose. All right. So there you go. Also, you guys click the thumbs up button. It shows support of the show. YouTube loves it. We love it. And it's a free way to support the show, of course. And then, of course, go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is there. That is the major way we sustain the show financially. through our Medorables, our monthly Patreon subscribers. It's a one-time-a-month payment. You get to choose the amount that you can afford for a monthly tip for the show, and we appreciate it oh so very much. And there's links to everything. There's a link to PayPal. There's a link to our merch shop, the NikkiMedoroShop.com as well. And we appreciate you. We appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, Harry. Okay. Harry, this is again your warning. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. You always come through. But if you're at work, there's going to be some dirty language coming up. Although I will say, I'm trying to remember what the Senator Kennedy was saying. He didn't say any cuss words. He said 0 cuss words, but spicy sexual language. So let's just say that. Okay. Spencer, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. I appreciate that so very much. You guys are so generous, and I appreciate it so very much. Oh, and you are in Southern California. I'll have to ship it to you. There's just no way, Spencer, that I can make it all the way down to Southern California and back. But I will put a little note in there for you. And who knows, maybe I'll include in the box a copy of the picture of me and Matthew, my kind of hottie, because it is one of my favorite things. So that's a little hint. Maybe you'll get something like that in the box as well. I keep adding things into this box. I don't know how heavy this box is going to be, but I'm trying to keep it small, especially if I have to ship.
Are you gonna tell us what's in it?
Well, I was going to give hints. So I asked last week, do you guys want to know or do you want hints? And I'm thinking hints. Periodically hints. Now it's not a cheap box, okay? But but it's, if you open it, you're definitely going to know why I put what I put in it. You'll know it instantly. When you open it up, you'll be like, yep, that's Nikki. That's Nikki. These are my favorite
things. Is it like DVDs of horror movies and spicy food?
Ooh, well, I'm going to say this. There may be, because again, I'm still filling this box. Literally, I have been ordering things and picking things off shelves to put in this box. There might be gift cards. It matters if it works out of, a different way of doing it, but there might be gift cards. There might be things where you can win millions of dollars, perhaps. Who knows? Oh. It's going to be within reason. Of course, this is not like a $1 million box or whatever, but I'm filling it up with some fun things. And again, it's a mystery box. So what you get is what you get. But it's a fundraiser for the show. It is worth it. Okay. If you buy one ticket for $20, you're making way more off it of what's inside the box. I'm making it worth your while, but just think of it as it's a fundraiser for the show. And I just want to continue to raise money. John, a $10 super sticker. Thank you, you guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. And again, if you want to join the raffle, which we really hope you guys do in, commemoration of our 1-year anniversary, please go to the NikkiMedoroShow.com and sign up through our PayPal. Buy the tickets through PayPal. It's $20 a ticket, and it will really help us out. And we hope that we can continue to periodically do these sorts of things. I don't like continually begging for money, but I think this is a fun way to give back to you while you also support the show. So there you go. All right, we are going to talk 2 tickets to the Niners game. If I can afford 2 tickets to the Niners game, I'm probably going myself, but that's a good idea. We'll see. I need a hookup on Niner tickets, though. Niner tickets are expensive. Mm-hmm. But there will definitely be something Niner-esque. There has to be. The Niners are my favorite team, right? So that's a hint. There's definitely something Niner in that box. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so we'll figure it out. There'll be some good stuff in there. Don't worry about it. Okay, so what makes Matthew McConaughey calm down? I'll have those words plus words you probably don't want to hear coming out of the mouth of a very old Republican senator. That's coming up right after Kim's News.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Oh, yes, there will be an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Really? House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said months of Republican-led investigations have uncovered, quote, serious and credible allegations that Joe Biden was involved in his son Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings while serving as vice president. What credible allegations? What proof? What you talking about?
Exactly.
President has denied the accusations. Yeah, well, this is happening.
Okay, well, let me play this video real quickly since you're talking about it.
Right.
This is John Fetterman, the senator.
Yeah.
Reacting I just could not stop laughing. Now, on one hand, at first I was like, dude, you probably shouldn't do this because people think you're out of your mind because of what happened in his stroke and everything. But no, he's just being completely sarcastic. So here he is.
Asking about this news that Speaker McCarthy has formally launched an impeachment or has said he's going to.
Oh my God, really? Oh my gosh, it's devastating. Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it.
His handler was like, oh my God, don't do that. But I think that's what a lot of Democrats are saying. It's like, really? This is ridiculous. Everyone can see through your BS, McCarthy. MTG has you by your short and curlies. You know what I mean? So you have to do this, or because you don't really have control over these people. He is the least powerful House Speaker I've ever seen. He is no Nancy Pelosi. That's for damn sure. If Nancy Pelosi got Democrats to fall in line, like, we do not splinter on this. I will work with you on this, but we are going to do this. Kevin McCarthy has zero power like that. Zero. Eric says, you impeached our guy. We want revenge. Exactly. I mean, that's all they want. That's all they're looking for. It's ridiculous. It's sad.
Yeah, that's the situation. He doesn't look much like a senator. He's the casual dress, the shorts. There's like,
that's fine. I mean, they kind of caught him down in the bowels of wherever. I'm assuming at the Capitol. I don't know if necessarily he was going to, into the Capitol. Maybe he was leaving, right? So who knows? And again, do the work. I remember I worked with a woman who called out Maria Shriver, the former First Lady of California, Governor Schwarzenegger's wife. Mm-hmm. And she had black nail polish on. Maria Shriver did. And the woman that I was working with didn't like it. And I was like, who cares? It's just, and she's like, I just don't think that it's very, kind of, for her position. Right. And I was a little blown away by it. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you're doing good work. I guess I'm just I understand there's the appearance part, and I wouldn't want someone looking, like hell. Black nail polish was definitely not on my list of things that disqualifies you from being a serious whatever, It
used to be that would be a little Halloween,
Yeah, but nowadays
it's more everything goes. So
right. I mean, and this was a while ago. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor, but still, I didn't think that it was that big of a deal. And it's nail polish. It's like, who cares? But I've always been that way, so I'm not the best judge of those sorts of things.
The escaped murderer in Pennsylvania?
Yes, I was so stoked by this news.
The search is over. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Danilo Cavalcante, they say Danilo Cavalcante was recaptured this morning with no shots being fired. The Brazilian native had been on the run for 2 weeks after he busted out of the prison in Chester County near Philadelphia. This guy was all over the place. He was in the woods. He was in the garage stealing weaponry. He was all over the place.
I walk around in the morning with my phone with the news on, and all of a sudden they were like, the guy that's been hunted. I was like, they found him, and my son's like, who? And I was like, this crazy dude, this crazy murderer that's been hiding all over the place. I'm stoked that they found him. Now people can sleep easy, and I'm glad that he was taken into custody alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Spending on political advertising is estimated to reach a record $10.2 billion in the 2024 cycle.
Wow, geez.
That's according to new projections from Ad Impact. Local TV stations are projected to rake in half of that amount, $5.1 billion. Going to be a record type of situation for political ads.
Yeah.
We're going to be inundated.
I mean, they do say, though, if you do mail-in ballots, I mean, you can't get away from like the TV ads and things like that, obviously, but the mailers will stop going into your mailbox. That's what they say. I don't know how true that is, but.
Me either. A Republican congresswoman speaking out after getting kicked out of a Denver theater for causing a disturbance. Oh, Lauren Boebert of Colorado, pardon me, escorted out of the Sunday night performance of Beetlejuice the Musical after she was accused of vaping, singing, and recording the performance on her cell phone. Boebert denies vaping during the show, but does admit to singing and having a great time. She was asked to leave.
I mean, do you think the vaping? Yeah, you're out. Like, you can't vape in places, but the rest of it, that's just having a good time. I would say, unless you're being like that guy at the Adele concert that was screaming and yelling during the whole entire thing. You don't vape inside Especially this whole like Law and Order crap. That's against the law, Bobert. You know what I mean? Like you can't do that crap.
I would say also if you're at a musical, you're in a live performance of something that's a theater show.
Right.
Maybe if you're singing and yucking
Too
it up
loud.
in the
You're distracting.
This is not a concert. This is a theater. So no.
And that's a good point. It's not like it's a movie where you might be, kind of taking people off their game, because I could see that happening, right? You're on stage and all of a sudden you're hearing somebody singing off tune probably, and it's not helpful, right, to do your performance. So, yeah.
Yeah, she was asked to leave, and I don't feel bad for her.
No, I never feel bad for Lauren Boebert at all. Eric's like, I bet there was alcohol involved. I'm like, yeah, I bet there was.
California gun stores could soon be required to display warning signs similar to what you would see on tobacco products. Senator Catherine Blakespear, who's a Democrat from Encinitas, authored this bill she believes will help reduce gun violence in California. Some elected leaders believe the new bill would warn people about the dangers of having a firearm in their home. The warning essentially says having a gun in your home could dramatically increase the risk of gun violence. While California has some of the toughest gun laws in the country, mass shootings are on the rise. The Public Policy Institute of California claims a mass shooting has happened every 6 days in the state this year.
That's
every
crazy.
6 days in California alone. So the bill passed the state assembly and the state senate. It is now on Governor Gavin Newsom's desk for final approval. We'll see what he does.
I mean, I think it's theater. That's just theater. I mean, okay. I mean, people know these things. Do you think that putting a warning on something on a firearm is going to reduce gun violence?
If I'm at a gun store buying the gun, I'm probably already convinced that I need a gun, and I'm not thinking about the fact that it could be taken from me and used against me, or that a member of myself or my family could use it against me as well. Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not thinking about those things. So,
well, I mean, you should, but I feel like in 2023, when our children are doing active shooter drills, we're very much aware of the danger of having a firearm in the house. The stories of kids taking their parents' gun to school and murdering a bunch of people. We are well aware of all of that. Yeah. So am I against it? No. Do I want a ton of taxpayer money going to a warning that everybody knows about? I don't want that either. I think it's theater. I think we need to, I don't even want to get into guns things, but nationally, we need to do something about guns. State by state, it ain't going to do jack.
California could soon outlaw hidden charges on purchases, a bill that aims to ban junk fees on transactions, including banks, ticket vendors, airlines, and online sellers, is heading to Governor Gavin Newsom's desk. The legislation would prohibit the deceptive practice of advertising a certain price and then adding on mandatory charges that are controlled by the business. Companies that fail to comply with the new rules could face hefty fines. And I have to tell you, this just happened to me last night. Oh. I am beside myself with being pissed off about it, too. Let me tell you.
Lay it on me. Lay it on me.
So last night, it's a deadline to buy the high school yearbook for $95. All right. If I don't buy it last night, it goes up by $20. So I'm thinking, all right, I've waited long enough. It's time to cough out my $100
really
almost.
Early, but okay.
Really early, but they want me to buy it early to save $20. All right. So I log into Jostens to buy the yearbook.
Just calling them out.
And buy it I do. And I put it in the cart and I get to the end and it's not $95. It's like $105 or something. I think, taxes?
Yeah.
No,
what?
No, Nikki, it wasn't taxes. Jostens decides that it's acceptable to charge me a fee, and this is what it says. It's a $4.99 fee, $5 fee.
Okay.
This service fee helps us operate the Jostens platform and cover delivery costs. First of all, the Jostens platform is their website. You're charging me to buy something on your website?
Oh, yeah. They'll charge you for anything. That's a junk fee.
Delivery costs. All the yearbooks are delivered to the high school and distributed.
Yeah.
Really? The service fee is a flat fee based on your order's subtotal, calculated after any promotion or discount is applied. So, really, I mean, this is what gets me. You want me to pay to buy something from you?
Yes.
That's what they're saying.
Yes. They want you to pay in addition to the price of the book. Just make the price of the book $100. That's it.
You want me to pay $5 for the privilege of logging onto your website and ordering the book?
Yeah, pretty much.
Junk
That's what they
fees,
want you to do. Junk
illegal
fees.
in California pretty soon. Sayonara, Jostins.
That's funny because when we were talking about the Niner tickets, of course, I'd love to go to a Niner game. And when you're on Ticketmaster, they show you the seats. You know, it's always going to be like between $300 and $500. But they're like, do you want to see the ticket prices with the fees? Obviously. Why do I want to be surprised by this? Just tell me how much the freaking ticket is. Like, if it's this with fees, give me that number. That way I can actually decide, because you have all the filters. Oh, I only want to pay $150 a ticket. Well, none are being offered to you. Sorry. And then so you have to keep going up and up and up. But at least I know, and I'm not in your situation where you're like, all right, a little less than $100, which is expensive for a yearbook. Jesus.
I mean, it's not the $5. It's just the
principle.
And it's why they are charging me the $5.
Right.
You know?
What if they said something like, this helps us pay for healthcare for Jostin employees?
I'd still be pissed off about it. Listen, I want Jostin employees to have healthcare, but I just don't if your yearbook is not, then you know what? Then make the price of the yearbook $100.
Thank you. That's all. Just be honest with the price. I just want to know what the price is. That's it. That's all I want.
Don't tell me it's for the privilege of using your website. That just pisses me off.
No, thank you.
Some Bay Area communities are seeing a significant dip in home prices. According to new information from Go Banking Rates, the average home price in Palo Alto is down near $500,000 from this time last year. What?
In other states, you can buy an entire house for the amount of price that it dropped. Oh, my God.
Mountain View homes have seen a price drop of about $250,000 over the same time period, while homes in San Francisco have dipped $200,000. Real estate experts say those numbers could soon turn around, with analysts expecting more folks looking to buy a home in the back end of this year. We'll see.
It's there was just a survey of college students, young adults. And they were saying, we don't think we'll ever buy a home. And it was really depressing. I felt really bad. I was, again, walking around and I'm spraying my son's hair, right? And I'm thinking about him. And they're like, most of the young adults right now never think they're going to be able to afford a home. And they also they never think they're going to be able to retire. And I'm like, really? Because I don't know how many articles I read constantly about, I retired at the age of 40 or 35, or I got this side hustle that brings in $74,000 a month or some nonsense, right? I know those are few and far between, and that's why there's a news article about them. But yeah, I think the world can be really depressing if you're just hitting adulthood right now. Like, everything is so expensive. They're raising, the fees at the CSU. They're doing all this stuff. And you're like, my income is not necessarily going up to match that. And it's ridiculous for these, and I will call out boomers, for these boomers to look at young adults and be like, well, when I was your age, I was able to do it. It's like, the math isn't mathing. So stop it already, so it sucks.
Something interesting for well, it's not necessarily for the young folks, it's for everyone, but the framework for a new transfer program between the UC and community college system has been reached. It would be a pilot program just at UCLA for a limited number of majors to be expanded later. This would prioritize admissions to students with an AA degree for transfer. It would start with 8 majors to increase to 12 by the 2028-29 year, with 4 majors in STEM fields. So you would have priority if you went to the junior college, got your AA, and were transferring. You would be a priority admission.
Yeah, it'd be a different avenue. They'd have a different quota to meet there. I'm all for it. I'm telling you, Kim. Community, and what surprises me is I don't know, I haven't checked the latest numbers, but the number of people going to community colleges is actually down or something. It's not like skyrocketing, which is what I would assume. Some community colleges are free. Like, how do you counter these I just don't get it. How do parents, and I'm going to call out parents that are paying for college, look at headlines that say college is so unaffordable, it's so expensive, it's so competitive, right? And they're not even getting degrees with incomes right out of college that match what they paid, right? The student loan debt, all this negative. Not saying that going to a UC or a CSU is bad, just a lot of negative. And then they're like, but we can give you this community college is in some cases free and a separate track into the UC or CSU that you may want to go to in a couple of years. And people are like, nah. I don't understand it. It boggles my mind.
What I was confused about is why wouldn't the UC, why would they want to make this deal? Wouldn't they want to have that undergrad money? And wouldn't they want to say, no, we don't want to make a deal with community colleges. We would rather have people come here for their freshman and sophomore undergrad years, and we want that money.
Well, I think maybe, and I can't speak for UCLA, of course, but I would say maybe that they're not worried about being able to fill their freshman year. They're worried about the fact that, they're turning away so many people, and maybe they want more upper grads, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they want all of those people. I don't know. Maybe they've worked with California. Maybe they actually care about people. I mean, maybe it is a really good thing that they want to do, because it is a good thing that they want to do.
I was reading a story yesterday about it was a college ranking, and for the first time UC Berkeley had been left out of the top 10 for California schools. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my sister about it, and because my niece is applying to colleges, and she was saying it doesn't surprise them because they have friends that with a daughter that goes to UC Berkeley her freshman year, and they were saying she can't get the classes she needs. And she has to stand in really long lines. Mm-hmm. And professors' office hours, it's almost impossible to talk to a professor because there's so many people ahead of you. So it's crowded. They're letting in so many people that, because they need the money, right, that they can't really offer the services to people that are, there, have been admitted and are paying for it and that should get these services. Exactly. So maybe they're seeing that and thinking, okay, if we utilize the community college system, then we won't have these problems. I don't know.
Well, also, I think Stanford was the only one on that list in the top 50. Berkeley didn't make the list. And the other thing that I heard that they were considering with that list was not only affordability. Berkeley is expensive, even though it was supposed to be a free college, right? But also the income after you graduate. Mm-hmm. So it's unaffordable. And then even when you graduate, you're not going to making that money back on the back end. Stanford University students apparently are more than UC Berkeley students. And I will also say this, and this is just anecdotal, of course, and there's nothing probably to support this. I think it's also a PR problem. Berkeley, I think, still has a bit of a PR problem with the protests and all sorts of things. And this day and age right now, some people may not look at Berkeley in the same way they look at Stanford University, because of the politics, because of all of that sort of thing. I mean, it's kind of like how California is used by Florida. Oh, look at that and what happens there. That it could also be a branding problem. And maybe Berkeley isn't as, well, obviously it's as popular, but maybe not in kind of rankings like that. I don't know. I'm just pulling that out of my butt, but.
California legislators are moving to make watering some grass illegal. A bill that's headed to the governor's desk would outlaw using drinking water for patches of lawns that are mowed but not used for recreation or for walking. According to Southern California's Metropolitan Water District, half of all water used is for outdoor watering, and nearly a quarter of the grass in the region is considered non-functional or decorative. If signed into law, the statewide ban would be phased in starting in 2027.
I think grass in and of itself should be outlawed. Now, this is speaking as someone who, because I rent now from someone other than my father, I have lawn. I have lawn in the back and I have lawn in the front, and I hate my water bill. It drives me nuts, but I'm maintaining it. My landlord actually just came last weekend to fertilize the lawn, right? He wants it, and it's his house and it's his lawn, and I of course will respect that, right? If it was my house, I do like the fact that Nugget can have some lawn to run on in the back. The front, nah. I'd be like, nah, it's not necessary. My mom has succulents, native plants, which I find to be really pretty, kind of rock garden type of things. Mm-hmm. We just drove by this huge planter box. And I would say it was probably waist high, filled with dirt and rocks and succulents that kind of grew. And they're gorgeous and they don't use a lot of water. And they grow flowers. Some of these succulents don't need a lot of water and they grow these gorgeous flowers. You just have to think outside of just plain ass grass. Like, who cares? You can run on it and it looks nice, but that's brainwashing. We've been brainwashed to see that as gorgeous versus things that grow naturally and don't use a lot of water,
Yeah,
So
I agree. Online shoppers are paying a little less for items in the latest sign of inflation cooling off. Adobe Analytics reporting e-commerce prices fell 3.2% year over year in August. It's the largest annual dip in a little over 3 years.
Wow.
And lastly, as you mentioned, the stars turned out for last night's MTV Video Music Awards, but the one who radiated the most, Taylor Swift.
Of course.
The pop star owned the night, walking off with 9 VMAs, just one shy of the record set back in 1987 by Peter Gabriel. The Moon Person statues included Song of the Year, Artist of the Year, and Album of the Year.
She even got director because she directed the Anti-Hero video. So she also went director. I think I don't believe there was an award that she was up for that she lost, but I'm just gonna say I am in my 40s. I watch the VMAs because I want to see. I always watch it. I always watch the VMAs and I always watch the Grammys. Okay, because I like it and I know a lot of the songs because my kids listen to me. Well, my daughter, my son's not really into music, but I'm just gonna tell you, supposedly. And I'm sorry, they did, to my liking, they did not. They were celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Vice President Kamala Harris has done it. The Beastie Boys got like a block in New York recently. So it's 50 years of hip hop. And then listening to some people that are part of the rap hip hop culture, Lil Wayne. I don't know if you guys. So Lil Wayne comes out, and my husband was laughing at me because he says that I was being old. Can I just read you some of these lyrics for a second? I couldn't understand a freaking word that he was saying. And I'm not trying to act old here. Okay, I'm not. But if we're going to talk about hip hop and rap, I need to know what the hell you're saying. You know, bring Eminem out. He talks really, really fast, but at least I have a comprehension. So all I kept hearing was Serena. So I go on my phone. I'm like, what the hell are these lyrics that he's saying? So this song is called Cat Food, but cat with a K. Okay. Brace yourself, people. All right. You ready?
This is Lil Wayne?
This is Lil Wayne. Okay. I'm not going to rap it. I'm just going to read it. Cat hanging out that cat suit. Ooh, Serena. Whoa, I eat her like hyena. Come here, girl. I got that cat food. Ooh, Purina. Ooh, Purina. It's wet, Katrina. Like,
is this a sexual song?
I'm assuming, but like, there he is. That's Lil Wayne. Now, again, I'm not knocking Lil Wayne. I just couldn't understand a word he was saying. And then when I found the lyrics, I was cracking up. Here's a few more samples of this riveting song. Got bitches everywhere, insects, spraying at them like Windex, eat her like a shark, and I still ain't learned how to swim yet. I still can't F her friend yet.
What?
Yeah, it was, and I didn't want to like feel old, but I was like, yeah, no, that's not doing it for me, my friend. That is just.
Did he win some type of award for that?
He was performing, and I think he actually did win some sort of award, like a collaboration or something, or he was up for it. His name was mentioned in the awards a lot, but it was just like, ooh, Purina. I mean, it's the lyrical stylings are just questionable. Let me just say that they're questionable.
Well,
yeah. No, and I disagree, Christopher. I disagree. Puff Daddy looked tired. It was okay, and it was, oh, it's Puff Daddy, and I wanted Christopher. I will say this: if J-Lo would have come out and duetted with him, I would have been up on my feet. But it wasn't right.
Did Taylor Swift perform?
No, she did not. For all the awards she was up for, she did not perform at all.
Interesting.
Yeah,
well,
she doesn't need to perform. She's exhausted.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
she's on tour. Okay, leave the woman alone.
I mean, Beyonce wasn't there, but she's on tour. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, it was if you ever want to feel your age, go ahead, watch the VMAs. But I'm proud of myself. I know a lot of those songs. I really did. The cat one, no, I wasn't into that one.
Not the cat one.
No, not at all.
This report is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. Please check out our website, thenikkimedoroshow.com. Thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon link, the PayPal link is there. There's lots more to look at. Thenikkimedoroshow.com. And we thank you. And you know who else we thank? I'm telling you, I love you guys. You Medorables. You're
Yes.
rocking it.
Yes.
Sam just bought the
Sam!
very first raffle ticket. Good morning, everybody. Good
Thank
morning,
you,
Sam.
and for the $10 donation as well. So if you
Yeah.
want to buy a raffle, it's a mystery box of my favorite things. And thank you, Sam, so much. I have a bunch of other thank yous to make as well, because you guys have been really, really generous. But if you want to buy a ticket to the raffle to win a mystery box of my favorite things, it's a fundraiser for this show. The money goes to myself and to Kim. Go PayPal, $20 per ticket. It's $20 per ticket. You have to use PayPal. And the email is thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. And make sure you put raffle and your contact information. I at least need an email. I need confirmation. And if you don't receive a confirmation from me, then email me and make sure, because I want to make sure every single supporter gets into the raffle. And we're doing it to mark also the 1-year anniversary of the show next month. Rod, thank you for the $20 super sticker. You are so very generous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Spencer, thank you so much. Another $20 donation. You guys are awesome. And Spencer, you've donated $3 as well today. John also donated a $10 super sticker. Harry, working on the office, coming in with that $5 super sticker. We appreciate your support for the show. We need it. We want to keep the show going. I have so much fun doing this show with you guys. And Kim we have fun on this show. I crack my ass up all the time with the conversations that we have. So very, very happy. But again, please buy the raffle tickets for our fundraiser. It'll be happening over the next couple of weeks. So just PayPal, $20 per ticket. You could buy as many tickets as you want. And PayPal, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. Okay, are you ready? Are you bracing yourself?
Bring it.
Okay. So, now you guys know me. I have a potty mouth, a dirty mind. I make no qualms about it. Okay. So I'm not offended by this, but I'm going to put out a warning. If you do not like, I will say sexually explicit, but not cuss words. These are not cuss words. Okay. But sexually explicit language, brace yourself. But it's coming in. It's not as if this isn't politics right now, because it was said into a microphone at the Senate Judiciary Committee. Okay. So let's not act like this is, not being heard for everyone to freaking hear. Now, again, should he be saying stuff like this on the Senate Judiciary floor? I think Senator John Kennedy was trying to be shocking. The reaction was swift, I would say. So apparently they were talking about, book bans and the fact that these books are available in schools and their libraries. And so Senator John Kennedy, he is 71 years old. Okay. He's a Republican from Louisiana, decided to pick up one of the books and start reading from it. All right. Are you ready? I think I've given enough time and warning.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Yeah. All right. Here we go. And I really was just delaying because I had to get the video up and running. But here we go. So here is Senator John Kennedy.
The first one is called All Boys Aren't Blue. And I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees. And I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated.
Okay, so and it goes on from there. Like, it gets even raunchier. I could have let it go longer. Because he describes literally the sex act in the book. One, I don't think this guy should quit his day job because he's not going to get a job with Audible. I'm like, can you imagine if he was chosen to read that book for you? It would just be nightmare. The reason I wanted to play it for you, one, it's a little shocking, right, to hear it on the Senate Judiciary floor. But does it change your opinion on whether the book should be available to kids? Kim? This book was in the library. And I'm just going to say this. It's not as if they're making it required reading. Okay, so let's stop with this nonsense of that children are being forced to read these books. It is in the school library. Okay, so they get to make the choice. Do you think that this is a book that should be even available to children? And if not, why? You guys can let me know in the comments. But Kim, I want your take because again, we have high schoolers, and I'm going to say this is high school, okay? This is not elementary school. This is high school. So, do you think high schoolers should have access to a book that has words like Senator Kennedy just read?
That seems rather pornographic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't feel like maybe that's the book that I want my underage minor to read. It's like the same reason I wouldn't give them a subscription to whatever porn site and say, go have at it, right?
Right. Okay.
I realize that kids are going to look at stuff and start, exploring who they are and come across things, whatever.
Okay.
Do your best you can to prevent it. And I'm not, the idea of banning books makes me uncomfortable, but the idea of limiting what my kids have access to does not make me uncomfortable.
Right.
So personally, I don't think I would want that book in the hand of my children. But I don't know what else is in that book besides that. Is it a book just because the way it's being presented, and I don't know what book it is, but
it's called Not Every Boy is Blue. That's the name of the book. And I'm just going to read, let's see, it's a series of personal essays
Right.
by a prominent journalist. I'm just reading the description here. Prominent journalist and LGBTQIA activist George Johnson's All Boys Aren't Blue explores his childhood, adolescence, and college years in New Jersey and Virginia. I don't know what this particular, clip of the book, what
Right.
age the person was. All Boys Aren't Blue covers topics such as gender identity, toxic masculinity, brotherhood, family, structural marginalizing, and Black joy. It was a bestseller. It was a New York Library Best Book of 2020. I've never read this book. I can't judge this book in its entirety. Of course, they're going to pick and choose the most shocking aspect of it. But look, I'm going to be honest.
I mean, it's truthful. It tells the story.
It's graphic. It is graphic, though.
Yeah, it is very graphic. I'm just saying for a 16-year-old, right? If you had a 16-year-old child.
Yeah, it's 10th grade and up is what the recommendation is 10th grade and up. But I will also say this is a school library, so I would assume 9th graders, if you're in high school, can also possibly grab the book. There is an answer here. There is a very easy answer here besides banning books. Okay. And this is my idea, and it's not very hard to discover. Remember when I was talking about being in the library and there were all of these books in the YA section, remember? And all those black boxes say banned books, and they explain why it's banned. Okay. So how about this in a high school library, right? If it has that, and there could be a list behind it, I'm sure the librarians will be well aware of the banned books. It can maybe even be attached to the scanner, right? You scan it, it says it's a banned book. You can only check that book out if your parents have submitted a form. When all the forms we have to submit at the beginning of the year, my child can read banned books.
Perfect.
And if it can't, then you have to get parental permission to read that specific book. And then your parent can decide. They'll know that you're reading the book.
That's a lot of extra stuff the library has to go through.
I mean, not really.
Does it make it kind of like, why let's just not have that particular book in the library?
Who gets to decide that?
The school.
Not the school, right? Not the
school
school
board. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Why even make it anybody's decision except the parents? What if I want my kid to be exposed to? What if my child is curious about those things? What if I don't have a problem with it? Why does my opinion about the book not carry as much weight as your opinion because you are offended? If you're offended, then you don't have to read. You don't have to approve your kid to read the book. But
And
it's a case by case basis.
Just because that the sexual content, I mean, I think it's fine for college age kids, but I wouldn't want to give it to high school kids necessarily. And just because I feel that way doesn't mean somebody else is going to feel like, Harry Potter is the devil, right? So then you open this can of worms over, everyone's got, opinions are like a-holes, everybody has one. And before you know it, half the books in the library are banned. However, that is pretty graphic content.
Right. And so that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, I feel like if I felt like you and I was like, I do not want my child having the ability to check out these books, but I'm not going to go as far as making the decision for every kid in this class, in this school.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, we fill out all kinds of nonsense forms. It is a simple signature. My kid is allowed or is not allowed to read banned books. Done. And then when you have a library card, which you have to check out through the school, right? You have to go through there. It's inputting. No. And if I would rather have one little layer of administrative effort than to see libraries being stripped of books because of the decision of a very few. And that's what I don't like that, because what's obscene? Some people might be like, you know what? That's sex. And kids see a lot worse on the internet. I'd rather them read the words than watch it online. Somebody said that earlier in the comments, right? Like, some people are like, you know what? Sex is sex. And I'm not a prude about it. And if that's what sex is like, and they're describing it in a way that reaches some students, there you go.
Yeah.
But who are we to make the judgment for everybody? Keep your eye on your own paper, right? Take care of your own kids. Have the conversation with your own kids. If you're worried about this book falling into the hands of your kids, then talk to your kids. I feel like so many parents are like, oh, but what if I don't know? Freaking have a conversation with them about it.
Yeah.
Know what they're reading.
Do you feel like you would want that book in Marley's hands?
I think that if I saw that book in Marley's hands, I would ask her about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, if I tell Marley, I don't want you reading that book, guess what the next book she's going to want to check out is?
The next one by that author. Yeah.
I mean, the internet, we are in a whole new world here. Acting like our outrage is going to prevent our child from being curious about what the hell we're outraged about is ridiculous. It all started with Janet Jackson's nipple, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about the nipple that they didn't want the children to see, and then they're blasting it all over the place, right? If my daughter or son on their own with let's put this outrage aside. They don't know anything about this outrage about a book, right?
Right.
And they're looking for something that speaks to them in some sort of way. And they pick up this book and they read what it's about. And they're like, I'm curious about that. Okay. Then they need to know. I don't want to have to parent everyone else's kid. I'm going to parent my own kid. And again, I just feel like there is a simple way of dealing with it. Make it known which books are quote unquote concerning. And if on this list, and we can add all kinds of lists. You can add Catcher in the Rye. You can add, Fahrenheit 450, whatever. You can add books to it. And then there's permission. And if you don't want your child to even go on that aisle, right? Like, you can't have a banned book. I'm sorry. Fine. Then you don't get to check it out. And it's not on the school anymore. And it's not their responsibility. But it takes it away from, it doesn't take it away from everybody else. And that's my solution. And I think I'm correct. I think that is the easiest way of doing it.
You got a couple of people saying, yeah, that's an excellent idea.
Right. I mean, I understand there's so many people that are like, I don't want that in a school library. But again, where does that go? I mean, how do you define what's offensive? And why do you get to define what's offensive? Right. Well, if my child's reading a book about a gay relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just talking about the spicy books that I was reading, and that was heterosexual sexual relationship. And yeah, they're not as graphic. They were not as graphic as that. I'm not saying that. But it is what it is. And some people might be like, why are you reading that trash? And other people are like, it's not even that bad. That's the spectrum, right? And so I don't want anyone deciding where I fall and where I want my children to fall on that spectrum. So permission slips. Wait, I'm sorry. We have to sign permission slips for freaking everything. Yep. This can be included in it. And you know what? For me personally, I would never keep a banned book for my child. If I saw something that seemed graphic and I'm engaged with my kid and I should know what they're reading, which I do, because if my kid's reading a book, I'm like, oh my goodness. Then I have a conversation. I probably will read the book too, right? Because that's what parents don't want to do. They're going to take that excerpt that Senator Kennedy and they're going to define that whole book, that whole book by that one paragraph. And maybe the whole book is like that, but maybe it's not. Maybe you read it and you're like, oh, that was a really good book. Yes, it's graphic. It has heavy, topics. I want to have a conversation about it. But it seems more parents, especially parents that want it not even in the library, don't want to deal with it at all. They don't want to even have a conversation about it. And that's on you. That's a you problem again, right? It's like, I'm sorry you don't want to parent your kid and be engaged in what they're interested in and ask them, why are you interested in that? I don't
Nikki
know.
wants to know if there's any books you wouldn't want to see in school libraries.
The only thing I would not want to see in school libraries, just because you have to be of a certain age, is literal porn, like Playboy, Playgirl, whatever. I don't think that belongs in a school library. I don't even think it's in regular libraries. So I don't think I have to be worried about that. But no, I don't believe in banning things blanket. Like, no, I do not believe in banning books. Somebody wrote something. And if through all of the books in an entire library, something speaks to me or my kid, then we can have a conversation about it.
And that's what Spencer says. He says sex isn't going anywhere.
Exactly.
Just talk about it. I know it might be awkward, but just talk about it. That's exactly right, Spencer. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, like it seems to me that when you scratch the surface in some circles, and I'm not going to make a whole generalization, but when you ask people, like, you don't want it for your kid, right? And they're like, I don't want my kid to have it. I'm like, okay, so keep it away from your kid. Why does it have to be everybody? And when you scratch the surface, it's because they're scared. I really think it's a fear of and I'm going to be blunt and I'm making a whole stereotype. If they read that book, they're going to be transgender. If they read that book, they're going to be gay.
No.
That's what I think that they think, then what's the fear? Then what's the fear? That they're going to think about sex? Here's a secret. High schoolers think about sex constantly. Here's another secret. They have the internet at their fingertips and all kinds of porn. How many times you grab that phone out of your kid's hand as quickly as you're going to grab a book, right? Yeah. Are you grabbing the phone? Because you know what? They could read it on Kindle. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous to try to ban books, any book.
Jim says, should my tax dollars go toward buying that book to be put in the library?
Yes.
Why not fix a pothole instead? I don't want the ban, but how do we decide what's fair?
I would rather have books and deal with potholes. Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, that's me. Again, that's me. You can vote in a way in which someone's like, I'm prioritizing potholes over libraries, but I won't be on that side. And you can be. You can vote that way. That's how we do it. I prioritize education, school, after school programs. That is where my priorities always lie. And they've lied there before I had kids, and they're going to lie there after my kids are adults. Because when you educate and give kids resources, programs, and things like that, the rest of society actually benefits, you know? Yeah. So Deidre says, I encourage my high school age daughter to read Outlander, even though it had sexual content. That's your show, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my show. And she's right. And if Julia wanted to read Outlander, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And there's some sexy times in that.
Thank you.
And do I feel differently about straight sex than gay sex?
I think so.
But I shouldn't.
Why? I think that, but you relate to it, right? Like let's just get, TMI here. If I'm reading something sexy between a heterosexual couple, like I can imagine myself in that situation more.
Right.
Than if it was a man and a man having sex with each other, because
true, but sexual content is sexual content. And so it shouldn't matter whether it's gay sex or straight sex.
Well, I don't have a problem with either, but I'm not putting myself in the position of,
I'm just saying, if I'm going to hand my kid a book that has straight sex in it, then what's the difference between handing them the book that has gay sex in it?
I mean, I wouldn't hesitate either or. I'm just saying, would I choose one that has heterosexual sex before the gay sex? If I was looking for something spicy to read at night, probably, you know what I mean? But I think that people that
you got what floats your boat, right? I mean, everyone has their thing, right? Yeah.
But if I was a parent trying to prevent a banned book, I'm again generalizing here, but I would say they probably are more offended by the gay sex books than the ones that have to deal with heterosexual sex. But I know that that's not always true either. Some people don't want any sex in their kids' school library dealing with that topic, which is asinine. I'm talking about high schoolers here. I mean, everybody remembers. I mean, they're walking boners, right? It's just like, come on, stop.
Agent Kitty Feet says the more you prohibit something, the harder kids are going to work to get a hold of it.
Ding, 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 ding.
And Agent Kitty's not wrong.
Yeah.
Lori says we are projecting our good relationship with our teenagers onto other parents and kids. A lot of kids reading this stuff are hiding their feelings from their parents, living in fear, and would never actually have that conversation.
Right. And so that's another great point, Lori. So if they're never going to have the conversation, what better way to explore your feelings if you, let's just say you were reading a book about a homosexual couple and it was a sexual relationship and, you haven't even come out to your parents yet, but you want to be able to read something that speaks to you in that way because it has to do with how you're feeling. And and the relationships that you have. It has to be hard. I'm just going to say this, to live in a heteronormative world when you do not fit into that. When all of the commercials and the movies and the love stories in the past had to do with the man and the woman, oftentimes of a certain race or ethnicity, and you don't see yourself in that. And so what? You're not allowed to have a book that speaks to you and your feelings and your emotions and your trials and tribulations? Of course not. You want that. Anybody wants that. You lose yourself in a book. You find yourself in the book. Come on. You don't think Kim sees herself in Outlander sometimes? Come on. So it's just, you want to, that's what you
I'm
want to
there
read.
in my dress running through the fields of Scotland. You better believe it.
Her hair flowing in the
That's
wind.
right. I'm there. Sam Hewen at my side in his kilt. If you want to ban books with porn, then the Bible needs to go because
There you go.
whoa, says
Yes.
CR. Yeah.
Oh, but you can't mention things like that, obviously, right? That's different.
Kim says cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, these kids can get whatever they want on their phone. That's the thing that boggles my mind is they will, and again, I just make these blanket like generalizations, but parents will sit there arguing about banning books as their kids probably sitting next to them with their eyes glued in their phone, looking at God knows what, right? It's just, come on. It's just, but again, I think that marking books that have like, again, I'm going to show you that picture and I loved it. And I know it's small, but the library, and this is a public library. It wasn't a school library, but it even said on those black squares, banned book and why people were offended by it. Right. Had it was sexual graphic descriptions. Sure. Some said it was toxic masculinity. It was unfair to men. I mean, it was kind of on both ends. Right. Yeah. And I'm assuming, and this is an assumption, that those descriptions are what people wrote on why they wanted to quote unquote ban the book. And so that in and of itself, that black box is also educating our kids, right? Like, oh, so people saw it this way. And maybe as I'm reading the book, I could see, that is kind of, and so it kind of couches it in their own mind of this is going to be explicit. It's kind of like a trigger warning, right? This is a trigger warning. You are going to encounter X, Y, and Z. And that's fine. The world is full of trigger warnings, right? Yeah. It's full of all of these things that are going to make you feel ways that maybe you don't want to feel or experience. But the great thing about a library and a book is you get to make the choice yourself. You don't get to decide it for other people. I can't believe that in 2023, we are thinking about, and many places are banning books. Because of I was listening to that press conference regarding the Sunol School District. And again, tomorrow, I'll be bringing on someone that was trying to and is running again, but they lost, the Rockland Unified School District. And they've had their own thing about wanting more faith-based people on the board. And so I wanted to talk to her, like, there's nothing wrong with believing in God and having a religion. But again, when you try to impose something on a school based on your faith and your belief system, instead of just being inclusive to all, I don't think that's right. And when the Sunol School District decided to ban Pride, they interviewed, I think it was KTVU, they interviewed a woman, and it was an interesting quote and it was just a quick clip, but she says, they've gone past educating and are now imposing things on beliefs and all sorts of things. Like, that's what everybody's doing in this situation, right? Instead of being inclusive to everybody, you want to ban, not talk about certain things because they don't align with what you think is right, wrong, moral, whatever. Right. And so everybody's doing it. Everybody, me, you, everybody's doing it. So what do? Like in Sunol, if I was going to be quote unquote fair and try to be, objective about the whole entire thing, you could just make it the only flag you can fly is the American flag or the school flag or whatever. Right. I mean, that's the easiest solution, right? Yeah. Like, let's stop with all the different flags. On the other hand, if a teacher in her or his classroom wants to display something that conveys a message to marginalized groups that they're welcome there, which is what the pride flag does, especially when it is hung or flown by members that are just allies, right? You might be heterosexual or whatever. It says you're okay here. You know what? I'm not going to discriminate against you. You can hold the hand, or you could talk about your mom and your mom, your dad and your dad, whatever. You're safe here. That I'm okay with, right? It's the individual teacher within the school. When you tell, you can't show people that you're an ally, that's ridiculous. You can't show you're an ally because my non-ally person is going to be offended by it. Like, just stop. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because again, there's this push and pull about the legality of it all and, outing kids to their parents and all sorts of things. It's crazy. It is a crazy, crazy world we live in right now. Yeah, Janet, we're going to be talking about all of this. Janet says the Rockland School Board voted to out trans kids. I'd like to hear this person's opinion. Yeah, I will, preface this by saying the woman that I'm going to be talking with tomorrow, and it's around 9:30, we'll be bringing her on, is more on the inclusive side of things. And I've told her, I'm like, and I've tried on my own, but if you have a contact for someone on the other side, maybe this one woman who was caught on video talking about bringing in more faith-based people and all those sorts of things, please let me know because I want to have a rational conversation with people. I want them to explain in their own words what they mean. Because again, why do the wants, needs, and desires of one section of parents override others when we know there are gay parents, there are gay kids, these people exist. We can't ignore it. So I don't understand how we can try to ignore it in the classroom where kids spend most of their day. So we'll be talking about that.
Back to the book for just a moment.
Yes, please.
He read the most salacious part of it.
Of course he did.
But what we don't know from that reading is what else is in that book.
Of course.
Maybe it's a really good story about a kid who's struggling to figure out his sexuality or knows his sexuality or, has a first sexual encounter. All of these things often happen during high school.
Right.
Whether we want them to or not, that's just the reality of the situation. So I just, the surprise at hearing him say it has kind of sunk in. And now I'm wondering, what else is in the book? What other value? Why would this book be at a school library unless it had some type of, the librarian thought it had some type of value for kids going through stuff at that school?
Of course. I mean, it's
and so I don't think it's fair to just take a paragraph that, is sexual in nature and say, that's the whole book. That's the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're going to read the most sensational part of the book because they're trying to make a point that this is pornography and it shouldn't be in a school and it doesn't serve any purpose, right? But there are so many different types of books out there. And again, your child's not being forced to read it. It is just an option. And if you don't want your child to read it, then get control of your kid. Like, fine, tell them, look, you're not allowed to. I'm not going to sign this permission slip. If there is a book that you want to read, we need to talk about it first. Whatever rules you want. It's your kid. Freaking parent him or her, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. But parents don't want to. They want to make sure that there's nothing that could lead to an awkward conversation or they live in this fairy tale land that they know everything about their teenager, right? You're not going to know. This is the age in which they are finding themselves. And we've heard it for generations. And we seem to have forgotten that. Kids are allowed to figure out who they are. They are human beings. They're not your clone, no matter how much they look like you. They don't get to be who you want them to be. They are who they are. And you should accept them, guide them, put in some moral codes. And then you got to kind of trust that they are going to be a good person. But go ahead, fill their mind with, discrimination and hate and racism. Think what you get on the other end of that. Go ahead, see what you get. So, and it's tough. Like, believe me, there are so many conversations that no parent wants to have with their kid, right? You discover something, whatever it is, a relationship, a book, porn under the bed, who knows, drugs. But you have to have those conversations. You can't abdicate that responsibility to a school that's really just trying to teach. Like, if it makes my job as the teacher easier to call this person they and this person him, and they just fill out the about me. That's what happens in our school, right? At the beginning of the school year, you get an about me page that the students fill out. What nickname do you like to be called? What pronouns do you want to be used? The student turns it into the teacher. The teacher, as best as possible, abides by that. And guess what then they get to do? They get to just freaking teach versus a kid finding him or herself or their self, right? Worrying all the time about being called a name they don't want to be called, or even worse, being outed by their teacher to their parents, because that's really going to help me focus on my schoolwork, right? I would much rather have my kid go by whatever nickname or pronoun they want to, and then they're able to focus on their math work than worrying all the time about all this other stuff when they're worrying about it anyway, right? Like there needs to be a place for kids just to learn. And if it makes it easier by calling them they, them, he, she, whatever, fine. The world will continue to spin on its freaking axis. You know what I mean? It's so annoying. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. All right. I think we've beaten this to death. But again, tomorrow we will be talking. We'll bring it really close to home, talking about Rockland and what's going up to, what's happening there. And again, I just want to keep reiterating this because I have so many people that belong to organized churches and religions. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being part of a church and being part of a school board. The time should not, they should not cross though. You should not try to impose your religious rules on a public school. If you disagree, join me for the conversation tomorrow because we will get into that. Kim's going to have headlines in a moment, but I do want to play. Well, I'm not going to play it because I don't have the video up. But my guy, Matthew McConaughey. So I'm seeing him tomorrow in case I haven't said that a million times. So I told you guys yesterday how nervous that I was, that I'm going to blow it, right? That I'm just going to not be able to find the words. Or I'm going to be stupid. I don't know what I'm going to do. I honestly don't know what I want to do. But I was watching, he was on the Today Show yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. And he was talking about his new book. It's called Just Because. I'll be getting a copy of it as part of my $22. And
well, you should probably get 2 copies and then have one signed to go into the box.
Ooh, maybe I can get another. I mean, I paid for the ticket, but I'm sure they'll have more for sale. We'll see. That'd be awesome. I will try my best, but you're not getting my copy. That's just not happening. But I might make a copy of the picture and put it in there for you. Anyways, he was relating a story about the first time he appeared on a talk show. Now, this was in the 90s, okay? And he says he was getting ready to go live, and it was with Jay Leno was approaching him, and Jay Leno saw how nervous he was. Yeah. And so McConaughey says he comes into the green room and he goes, "You nervous?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "It's easy. Are you ready for the recipe on how to handle this?" And he says that the best advice Jay Leno ever gave him was 5 words. And he says, "Just want to be here." Like, that's it. Just really want to be here. And if you're excited and you're in the moment, like, you'll be excited in the moment. I was thinking about that on the VMAs. Well, I was watching some of these people. It did not look like they were in the moment at all. They were either really, really nervous or stoned off their ass. Honestly, there were a couple I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're just not there. But I love that idea of like, because I've found myself in very many awkward situations in our career, right? It's just, you find yourself, you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Or I'm really, really nervous. I mean, I've been in radio for how long? For more than 20 years. My first day at KCBS, when I cracked that mic, I was so nervous all of a sudden. Like,
why?
Exactly. Like, why am I nervous? I mean, after I did a newscast, that was fine. I'm not nervous anymore. But it's just this, it's nerves. It's human nature. So tomorrow I will definitely be in the moment. I will just want to be there because I will definitely want to be there. They're supposed to have a professional photographer, so I would love it if, I don't know if I'll be able to live stream. I'll maybe take a video or something of it. I want to be in the moment though, so I don't want to like distract myself and not be in the moment, because this is the only opportunity I'm ever going to get in my whole entire life, probably, to meet Matthew McConaughey.
Are you so excited?
I am so excited. I have the S eating grin. I'm so excited.
You're probably just gonna giggle. Just walk up there and just start laughing.
Yes, probably. Yeah, my mom was texting me yesterday because she was watching the interview with Matthew McConaughey yesterday. My mom used to feel how I feel about Matthew McConaughey about Patrick Swayze. Like, he was her heartthrob. Oh yeah, growing up. Oh, Patrick. Yeah. Oh, Patrick. Oh, Patrick. She was devastated when, unfortunately, he passed away way too young. And so she's like, he needs to cut his hair, but I think that you probably like him anyway. I'm like, I thought he looked good. It was totally fine.
Just think about tomorrow. He could put his hand on you during the picture taking.
I'm hoping he puts his damn arm around me.
Your shoulders could be touching. Right, your bodies will be against each other. Yeah.
I bet my shoulder will be right around like maybe his nipples. So I'm thinking like across the main chest area. And I'll get to find out if he wears deodorant. Because that's the whole thing about Matthew McConaughey. Apparently, he doesn't wear deodorant.
You're going to take a big old smell?
All of my
smell 'em?
senses will be firing.
It's
Kim
going to be,
McAllister.
lady, would you stop smelling me?
I love Vicky. She's like, maybe you should take a cab instead of the bike, looking fresh. I mean,
Yeah, she just has a point, Vicky. Yes.
yeah, maybe I'll take a cab there and I'll ride the bike back to the train station.
Yeah.
It's much quicker to take a bike. I'm telling you guys, I've ridden my bike before to work. It's fine. I mean, you kind of huff and puff, but I'm telling you guys, I'm going early. I'm really hoping to be first in line. I'm going to, pack a snack and sit there, and I have banned books to read. So I'll be sitting there. Anybody going, just find me, hopefully near the front of the freaking line, because I don't want to, because I have to get home. I have stuff in the evening that I have to take the kids to. So I'm really trying to make sure that I'm back in time. If not, it's dad duty, but I really want to be there. So Nikki will be the soccer boss, kiss and hug him. No, I'm not going to assault him, Calvin.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he definitely sounds like he's going to be running for something. He has such a fresh take, not fresh, but I think a fair take. Let me say that, a fair take on things, because I don't necessarily think that he would run as a Democrat. I'm not saying he would run as a Republican, but he's a Texas boy. So, he definitely, I think, hears that more conservative side, and yet also understands there's common sense legislation for things like gun control and things like that. Remember, after Uvalde, that was his hometown. So, he really has come out a lot, and we'll see what happens. So I'm here tomorrow for the show. So this eating grin is going to be here for a whole nother day, bothering you guys. And then again, Friday, I'll probably be experiencing it all over again with you guys. So it's going to be a Matthew McConaughey kind of week. So just deal with it, because I'm excited. All right, let's do a couple of headlines. And then what else did I want to talk about? Oh, I did want to talk about the meteorologist and the leaked nudes. Does it really matter? Is there a difference between a politician having sex on OnlyFans with their husband and a meteorologist who had his own nudes leaked? It's not like he did it himself. We kind of have a sexy time theme going on. And I do want to end it though with this guy, the guy that won the lottery winner. He has done what I think everybody dreams of doing if they win the lottery, especially a lottery as big as like $1 billion. Like that is the amount of zeros, the amount of time it would take you to spend that much money. But he is spending it, and I have a bunch of pictures. And I think that, I would do the same thing. He even living large is what I'm saying. He is definitely living large. All right. Click the thumbs up button. Oh, and I do want to, again, I thank you guys for donating to our super chat so very much. You guys have been great. I do want to remind you though that our fundraiser has officially begun. It's a raffle. If you want to participate, you can win a box of my favorite things. And all you have to do, the tickets are $20. You can buy as many tickets as you want, and it puts you in the drawing that many more times, of course. But we're only doing it through PayPal. So I think that's the easiest way to do it, because then I can get your information, and you have to get a confirmation email from me personally that I've received your amount. So it's $20 per ticket, pay through PayPal. The PayPal email is theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. Buy up those tickets, and we're going to do the raffle drawing on our 1-year anniversary of our show next month. I can't believe it's been a year. I want to keep doing this. I want to keep it going. And to do that, we need to make it, financially viable. So please buy your raffle tickets, support the show in that way. And then we're going to come back with more sexy time talk after Kim's news. I love it.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Oh, Gavin Newsom, here he is. The governor says he will go to China in late October to talk about climate change. At a Politico event yesterday, Governor Newsom said the U.S. can't do it alone and China needs to join us in the effort. The White House failed this summer to get China to commit to tougher climate action. Governor Newsom says he doesn't know if he'll meet the country's leader or not. The announcement only fueling speculation that Governor Newsom will be running for president, but he insists he is backing Joe Biden.
Well, yeah, he's not running, people. He's not. But is he laying very firm groundwork for it? He's young. We were talking yesterday about when not. He has plenty of years to do it. And it would not be smart to go up against Joe Biden. And it wouldn't be smart to run right now anyway, because in all honesty, he is controversial in many parts of the country. So
He is, but I think when he goes to debate DeSantis, right?
Mhm.
And he does things that are rather, presidential campaigny. It really
Mhm.
has the look of somebody who, as you say, is laying the groundwork for it all.
Right.
Let's talk about AI, because a new bill to regulate the AI industry is being introduced today by Democratic Senator Scott Wiener. There are already federal regulations on the horizon as well. This bill will either expand existing agencies or create a new one to regulate AI development in California. The bill calls for the creation of Cal Compute, a state-run research cloud infrastructure project for groups to use for AI development. Senator Wiener himself admits the state currently doesn't have the capability to audit AI or fully enforce the bill. Some businesses in the AI space say they're worried a heavy-handed approach to AI legislation could stifle innovation. We'll see how that unfolds. A little more on this killer, Daniel Cavalcante.
Yeah, look at that guy.
Yeah, so he's back behind bars a couple weeks after escaping from a Pennsylvania prison. Police say Danilo Cavalcante was captured this morning after being found hiding in a field under foliage and a pile of logs. The inmate escaped the Chester County Prison near Philadelphia after being given a life sentence for the murder of his ex-girlfriend. So yeah, under some leaves, under a pile of logs, got to give it to him. He's a good escapee.
I'm surprised he was able to last as long as he did. I am very glad that he obviously found him alive too. You know what I mean? Like, go back. You got to serve your time. Murder.
Yeah. And they're always going to find you eventually.
Exactly.
Unless you're the guys who escaped from Alcatraz, in which case.
That's true.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about inflation. It is jumping. New data reveals the consumer price index increased 3.7%, up from 3.2% in July. The CPI, the best measure of inflation, measuring consumer prices of anything from groceries to gas. What's interesting is we just had a story that the price of things online going down. So, The Republican leading the impeachment inquiry into President Biden is pushing back against claims now that there is no evidence of wrongdoing by the president himself. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, pictured here, laid out the evidence he said warrants an impeachment inquiry into the president today during a news conference. He accused President Biden of directly benefiting from his son's foreign business dealings while serving as the vice president. Where's the evidence on that?
And again, I will say this so I'm blue in the face. If there is actual evidence of it, present it. You saying it, Comer, does not make it true. You actually have to have evidence, like Trump. I won that election. No, there's no evidence of that, my friend. So no,
there really isn't. Let's talk about cars. We've been discussing whether or not there would be a strike. Well, it could soon happen against America's top automakers. More than 140,000 members of the United Auto Workers Union are readying to go on strike on Friday. If GM, Ford, and Stellantis don't meet demands on wage increases, on pensions, and on job protections, the potential walkout would likely impact production and increase prices as well.
Great. I mean, it's already expensive to get a car. There was that story. There's like one car that's under 20 grand. Is
that it?
Yeah. I think there's like only one car that you can get for under 20 grand. That's insane.
It really is. You have to buy a used car, right? Aaron Rodgers, well, the doctors are now saying, a New York sports medicine physician, that Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers could actually make a comeback when his Achilles tendon heals. Dr. Jordan Metzel telling the Today Show the 39-year-old might be old for football, but not in general life. Rodgers is out for the rest of the season after tearing his left Achilles tendon during Monday Night Football. Here's the question. He's 40, right? Or going to be 40.
Going to be, yeah.
He rips his left Achilles. That takes what? They say sometimes a year to heal?
Well, I mean, not when you're a football player, but it's the season. I mean, it's going to take a while, right?
Does he come back from this?
I think the only people that have a bigger ego than politicians might be NFL quarterbacks. I don't know. I think he'll probably want to. I don't think he wants to go out like this. At the same time, I think he was only going to play a season, maybe two. I don't know. So I'm sure he has guaranteed money. My thing is, like, he should have never signed with the Jets, but I don't know. I don't know if he's going to come back. I definitely think this is not how he wants to end his career, though. So he might want to try, but I don't know if they're going to be able to pay him the money again. If you pay Aaron Rodgers so much money and you got 75 seconds out of the guy, are you going to go back for a second time? I don't think so.
And I mean, I don't want to be ageist about it, but our bodies react differently to injuries as we get older.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I'm sure he has the physical therapy and the training schedule where, that part, he's going to be, better than the average 39, 40-year-old in repairing it and coming back. At the same time, should he and will he get the money for it? I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll see how it all plays out. Do you know the Stinson Beach House at the center of Dianne Feinstein's legal feud?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it could still soon be up for sale.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. It's being listed as coming soon to the real estate market for nearly $8.5 million. Wow. So Feinstein's daughter has power of attorney on this over her mother and has filed a lawsuit seeking to force the sale of the Stinson Beach property. The suit says her mother no longer wants it and does not want to pay for half the property's carrying costs.
Yeah.
The real estate listing is described as one of the most exclusive homes in Marin County. It's got 4 beds, 3.5 baths, again, $8.5 million. This is a feud. It seems like it's a feud between Feinstein's daughter and her late husband, Richard Blum's daughters.
Right.
Because they want the house. And so while her mother is still with us, and the power of attorney rests with, I think it's Kathleen
daughter.
Feinstein, then, I don't know what she's doing, why she's being so aggressive over all this, but yeah.
Well, it's money. I mean, I don't even know, the upkeep on a $8+ million house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not even visiting it. It's easy to say, oh, just, keep the house. There's a cost involved in all of that,
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want to get dirty and ugly about the whole thing, it's coming out of somewhere. And is it coming out of the inheritance or is it coming out of something like that? Right.
Right.
Who knows?
Happiest state in the country is?
California, Hawaii.
Oh, right, you would think. Utah. Utah ranks as the happiest state in the United States. That,
They're
according to a
lying.
new study from Wallet Hub. The fine people at Wallet Hub strike again. The personal finance website says the study considered 30 key metrics ranging from depression rates, the share of adults feeling productive, to income, unemployment rate. Hawaii, Maryland, Minnesota, and New Jersey round out the rest of the top 5, but Utah, happiest state in America.
I've only driven through Utah. I think I spent one night there. I mean, it's pretty. It can be pretty, right? There's good skiing out there.
Park City.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock it. I don't know enough about Utah. Who knows? Okay. And I'm assuming it's way cheaper than California. That makes a lot of people happy. So,
When I think of Utah, and this may be completely wrong, and it's completely stereotyping and generalizing, but I think of a bunch of people skipping around, holding hands, wearing white underwear, and being Mormon.
yeah, well, because most of the people in Utah, and I don't know, what is the percentage? Let's Google this.
Maybe
What?
that's why they're all happy, because they're, have their religion to
Mormons
blunt the
in
edges of
Utah.
real life. I don't know.
As of 2020,
Yeah.
60% of Utahns are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is Mormons. 60%. That's a lot. That is a lot. I don't know how many people, I'm not going to continue to Google it, but I don't know how many people live in Utah.
Yeah.
But I can imagine if 60% of Californians were Mormons, the state would look a lot different. And so are you happy because, maybe they are happy. I don't know. Are you happy because you have to say you're happy because the church will be mad at you if you say you're not? I don't know.
Yeah, it's great. Everything's great. Nothing to see
fine.
here.
Everything's
Everything's
on fire. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Shh. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, or maybe the church, whatever they're doing is, people are going along with it and they're feeling happy about their life, and
who
more power
knows?
to you. Do
I'm
what
sure
you
there's
must do.
bad things that happen everywhere. So
Yeah.
you can be happy and in Utah. I'm not living there.
I'll be happy in California. Thank you
There
very
you
much.
go. Exactly.
This report is sponsored by you, which means we rely on you to help support the show. You can find it out more at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com, the Patreon link, the PayPal link, it's all there. And of course, the super chat is open here on YouTube. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
There you go. All right. And our PayPal link is thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. You will see my married name on there. If you, it should have the logo. You have to make sure that the one that you're doing, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com, it is our show PayPal. But because of legal paperwork and stuff, you may see my other name on there. That is the right one. As long as you see the logo, you have put it on the right PayPal account. Okay. So, and we thank everybody that's already started to buy the raffle tickets. Again, $20 a ticket. You can buy as many as you want. It's a fundraiser for the 1-year anniversary of this show. Again, the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. Okay. You were talking about Feinstein's house. So let me talk about this billionaire house real quickly before we talk about the meteorologist. Now his name is Edwin Castro. Okay. I have a ton of pictures here. Now I'm telling you, if I was Edwin Castro, I'd have this freaking grin on my face as well. Here he is. Where did he go? There he is. Okay. I think that's when he was like submitting his ticket or something. I think that was him on the day where he became a billionaire. Yep. And so he lived in Southern California already. He claimed that $2.04 billion winning. He took the lump sum, which was about $1 billion. It was $997 million. So he has since bought a Porsche. He's bought a bunch. He's bought 3 separate California mansions for a total of $76 million. Let's just go through the homes. And I'm telling you, this is the latest home that he purchased. It was a $47 million compound. Okay. I mean, look at this house. So there he is again. I mean, that thing is huge. Now, and I have more pictures, but it's like in the mountain. It's so freaking nice. So that's one picture. Look at this pool.
Is it in California?
It's in LA. Yeah, it's in LA.
Yeah.
It's an LA compound. I mean, see how it's built like kind of into the mountain. I like that whole aspect of it. Several floors. Look at that view.
Wow.
Now, again, if you were in the pool and then you're looking down at that, I mean, there's obviously some construction also happening below. So who knows how that's going to change.
He's going to buy that too.
Look at the stairs. See the little windy stairs?
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't
Up
that
to
look
some type of box. What's in there? Is that like a roof deck or something?
A roof deck, or maybe like a spa, like a hot tub, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, and then there he is again. And then this is like the front of the house, which is a little actually deceiving of how big it is. If you won $1 billion, what would be like? Would you do that? I mean, I kind of feel like I would definitely buy a house. I saw somebody in the earlier comments when we were teasing this say I'd disappear. I'd be gone. I think I'd want to, but I think I'd have to live large at least for a little bit. Don't you think?
I could, but it would be completely out of character for me to spend $1 billion in this lifetime.
Right.
So the first thing I'm thinking about is how to set up a foundation to give
that's
give
really
a lot
nice
of it away.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm thinking about Hawaii, and I'm thinking about my beloved Lahaina.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about all the people I could help there with that money. And then I'm also thinking about buying myself a beach house in that area. But yeah, I think that's probably where I go with it.
Yeah. So it's 13,500 square foot hillside estate. It has a full outdoor kitchen, a gym, a wine cellar, an infinity pool. Let's see. In his statement, he said, "As much as I am shocked and ecstatic to have won the Powerball drawing, here's what he says: the real winner is the California public school system. They're going to receive over $156 million as a result of the record-breaking win. And yet our public schools can't seem to get it together. It's amazing how that never seems to happen, right? He's great. He's like, maybe get a healthy diet so you can enjoy all that money. Maybe. Kim's Island. Ooh, maybe you should just buy a whole island. You'd be like Larry Ellison. Jim says, if becoming a billionaire, I would adopt villages around the world that I would help feed and send kids to college. I like that.
Yep.
I mean, do you think that you would even be able to burn through all that money? I mean, that's a lot. So he spent $47 million. He has $997 million. Like he hasn't even burned through 100 of it. And he's gotten almost, 1,000, right? So 1,000 million. Yeah, it's just, that's a lot of freaking money. John says, I would buy a few houses and some nice cars, wind up staying in one room of the house most of the day, binge watching TV shows. It's a lot of house. I don't necessarily know if I want a lot of house or if I want like land outside to do stuff. You know what I mean? I am also a huge proponent, even though this house is a little bit bigger than the house that I rented from my dad. I like smaller houses, bigger kitchens, right? Bigger kitchens, big family room, but not a big house in general. Because when you have too big of a house with like a playroom and a movie room, everyone's so separated. You know what I mean? Like everybody is my kids are already in their room enough, but at least I can hear them. At least when I walk down the hall every time I go to the bathroom, I could peek in, right? I feel like sometimes homes are too big for their own good. Like, what do you need all that space for? That's a lot of dusting and cleaning, and then you need a housekeeper because you sure as hell ain't doing it anymore.
That's a lot of house to clean. Yeah,
it's a lot of house, a lot of kitchen. I need 3 kitchens. I don't want to clean 3 kitchens.
Yeah,
I don't want to pay somebody to clean 3 kitchens.
Yeah.
Do I need 15 refrigerators because I don't want to walk to the other end of the house every time I want a snack? No.
It would be nice to have a little cottage where guests could come stay.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. Right? Like you don't have to get a hotel, but I don't have to have you in my house kind of thing, right? Like a little modular mother-in-law unit or something with a shower and a kitchen, right? Like so you can make your own snacks. I don't have to cook for you, right? Like you can do it and clean up your mess when you're done type of thing. That'd be a good idea. But yeah, I don't think I need like a gigantic house. So if I was a billionaire, I'd probably have a bunch of smaller houses or reasonable houses, right? It'll be nice. But in different parts of the world, right? So that I could travel and not have to stay in hotels or anything. I could have that house. I've always wanted a beach house. I used to want a house up in Tahoe. My husband and I would talk about it all of the time. But now with everything going on in Lake Tahoe and housing prices and everything like that, it just feels yucky.
But if you have billions of dollars, then, go buy your Tahoe house.
I know it's true, but it's just, I mean, again, whenever we go up to Lake Tahoe and we drive by some of these neighborhoods, and again, they're not the cottages anymore. Like a lot of these lakeside houses are mansions. They're gigantically huge houses. I don't need something like that. I want the view of the lake. You know what I want? I would want a dock, right? Where you can go out. I always have that like, that movie scene where the kids, they stay all summer at the lake and they run out and they jump off the dock. Right? That's what I would want. Or a beach house or something like that. Like that would be really fun. I would spend more of my money to make sure that location was there. Although with climate change, I think I'd choose lake over beach, in all honesty. Just because.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I love the beach.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
Point.
But
so in having our discussions about what happens when we win the billion, as if it's ever really going to seriously happen.
Hey, you never know.
My husband is convinced that we would have to move and any property we buy would have to be massive with security gates because when you have that much money, he says, people will come kidnap your children. Right, to try to get your money. So you can't just buy a little house on the lake in Tahoe, according to him. You would need to buy the big mansion with the big security gates and in an exclusive community where no one could get in and threaten you and try to get money from you.
Well, you could set it up when you initially get your winnings to set up like an LLC or something to kind of shield your name.
Right.
Although I think that sometimes can still come out, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm sure people can find things out anytime they want to nowadays. But that's a good point. I mean, it does put a huge target on your back, right? I've got your mom. I've got your kids. Pay me all this money. Yeah, pay for a security guard, I guess, right? You can hire security.
That's right.
That has to be really odd. I can't imagine being a kid of a president or something and having to always have I wonder if it's like reality TV shows where you just forget the cameras are there. Do you just forget your security guard is there, or they're your
It's
friend
so
or something?
weird. I mean, okay, there's just a different feeling when you have someone at your house like a guest, right?
Right.
Or what have you. I mean, you're still yourself and you're still with your family and everything's still fine. But
Mhm.
when it's just you and your family, there's just a more, I don't know, there's a different feeling to it
Yeah.
all. I don't know. I like that feeling of not having anyone else around. Not all the time, but
Yeah.
you would lose that.
Yeah. It would just be like, well, they'd become like a member of the family, I would assume.
Somebody always in your space.
Well, I mean, people
Yeah.
have live-in nannies, people have housekeepers. I
Yeah.
mean, they're kind of always shuffling around somewhere. Would you ever get a nanny? I mean, I know your kids are older, so you don't need a nanny, but like if you were rich and had babies, would you ever get a nanny?
Maybe when they were really little to
Yeah, that's
help,
what I mean. Yeah.
but not now. Not now. I have a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old. And honestly, I liked doing all that stuff.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said. I mean, of course, the wake ups in the middle of the night are exhausting, but I
Yeah.
remember that every time especially with my first, with Marley, it's like they aged overnight. So every time I
Yeah.
would be like feeding or doing, and you're just
They're
staring at their
different.
faces, they look
Yeah.
different. And it was that moment, like that body moment, which was exhausting. Don't get me wrong. Every time I had to get out of bed, it was hard,
Yep.
but definitely wouldn't want to be something I would push off on somebody else to have that memory or that bonding. That'd just be awful. Neiman says, I just travel first class everywhere. Yeah. So my
Yeah.
parents are going to Israel. And they have one of those sleeper things, you know, where the plane, because it's like a 16, 18, something like
Okay.
all long flight. Like I've never done anything like that. But yeah, I would definitely not be flying coach anymore. I don't think I would buy my own plane just because that's terrible for the environment and I don't need to do all that. But I definitely would be flying. I'd be staying at the nicest hotels. I'd be flying in the lap of luxury. I would not be carrying my own bags. I'd have, someone to do the S work, right? Like that's the point. But there's some things that you want to do. This is the thing about becoming way too rich. You don't want your life to have zero struggle, right? Like you still should have challenges because then it has to do something mentally to people. If every single thing that you could ever want, need, or desire is just presented to you and there's no struggle for it, I wouldn't feel the same way about it anymore. Right. I wouldn't probably value the same things I would at this level of income because it came so easy and that's no fun, right? You want to work for something to get the payoff. You need the dark for the light, the good for the bad, and all that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
I don't know how you would work that out when you're a billionaire. Maybe that's why they do these weird challenges and stuff, right? They go on these life threatening expeditions because they need something to make them feel alive because the
down to the
day-to-day struggle, isn't there anymore, right?
Like
So
down
you're
to the Titanic. Yes.
or exactly, but yeah, right? Like you need to feel alive because everything is too easy in life for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that has to be the downfall of having no worries about money, right?
Yeah.
Like I would like to where it doesn't matter, but not that, anything I could get at any time because you want to work for something, you want to save for something, you want to appreciate something because you worked for something. So, I know Calvin's like, I'll take no struggle. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I want the right kind of struggle. I don't want the struggle of like, oh my God, we're going to be evicted struggle. I want the struggle of, I want to save for a trip. I want to plan something. I don't want it planned for me. Like this is what I always say. I have like mantras that I do all the time. I want good problems. That's what I want. I want the problem of God, where do I want to go on summer vacation? Oh, I have to, what I have to do today? I have to research what hotel I want to stay at. Right. I want to do research on what kind of new car I want to buy. Right. Like those sorts of like, I want to put effort into something that I want to happen. That's good. I want a good problem. Other than that, I don't need life-threatening things. I don't need to go down to see the Titanic. There's a movie that I could watch that's perfectly fine for me. Vicky says we've all struggled and worked and suffered. Nothing wrong with kicking back. Oh, I'll be kicking back if I was a billionaire. I'm just saying, you have to have a little bit of struggle. That's just my opinion. You can live the no struggle life. If it works for you, it works for you. Okay, real quickly, let's talk about the meteorologist. So I don't know if you remember. His name is Eric Adame. He's a pretty good looking dude. Here he is. Let me share my screen. I didn't pull the picture of it. And I get it. It was a violation. Here he is. So he was fired after, I guess, clips of him on an adult website were leaked. Okay. And he was fired. And this was one of those situations where he was kind of on the up and up. He was like a rising star he was in New York City. He was on Spectrum One, which I've never heard of, but I'm not back east. I don't know where it falls with like ABC or something, but he was having a good career so far. So he was fired last year, and he'd been working at the network since 2007. Now he admitted to appearing and performing on an adult video website for other men while he was working at the station. He said the interactions were 100% consensual. He said he did not give the leaker permission to take screenshots of him, and he was not paid. So I don't understand why you do it, but apparently it's just for the fun of it all. Okay. He was suspended and then he was fired. Now he still defends his actions. He's like, I do not apologize for being sex positive and for being myself, for being an openly gay man. Now the network says he was not fired for his sexual orientation, but they say the situation was more complicated than what was presented. So anyways, he went on X, Twitter, and he wrote, I'm ready to be back on television. I'm ready for my comeback. If you're a news director and ready to give me a chance, please let me know. I've learned from my mistakes and I'm open to talk about it. I've been applying all over the country and I'm excited to see where I end up. Mm-hmm. This is my question. Do you think this guy's going to get any callbacks?
So this guy, while he's sex positive and whatnot, had to have realized that he has a very public job.
Right.
He is, his face is the face of the station.
Yes. One of them, yes.
And when you do this, when you have this type of job, you have to be very careful about how you present yourself to the public.
Okay.
And he showed incredibly poor judgment in putting himself in a situation where he could have pictures like this taken of himself online and then used against him.
Right.
And I think the station was not only right to fire him, but I would be very wary if I was a news director in any other market of hiring someone that had this poor judgment, who says, I'm not sorry about it. Right. And I'm so sex positive. I say be sex positive, but do it with, have people drop their camera in a bag at the door and make sure no one's taking pictures of you. If you want to have a consenting adult relationship with people, that's great. But you better make sure that you're not being filmed. If you don't have a serious relationship that is monogamous, and maybe you want to, play the field or do whatever sex positive things you want to do, more power to you. But you better protect yourself professionally and your employer as well if you have this type of job where it's very public facing. So
okay. So the response on his X post is mostly supportive, at least the ones that I'm seeing, right? Like, best of luck to you. I want him back on TV. You can move this one person says, I want you. You're missed. You did nothing wrong. Worthy of being removed from our TVs. Now, see, this is the thing, and it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Sex is not illegal. Sex doesn't make someone a bad person. Okay. No. Having sex on camera for other people to see will get mixed reactions, just like banned books will, right? Like, what is offensive to one person might be no big deal to another person. Right. Now, I love the fact that you brought up the fact that he's not apologizing for it.
Yep.
As a news director, and this is just because we're in the business, and I still think, I hope he gets another chance. I don't have any problem with it, okay? But that's my personal opinion. If I was a news director, though, I would have to weigh the blowback, right? Like, are you worth the possible good PR, the good attention, the bump in eyeballs and ratings for people wanting to check you out, right? Versus the holy rollers that are all pissed off because they had someone that did pornography, in their opinion, back on their TV where they do not belong. Okay. So let's just go to both ends of the spectrum. Is it worth it? Or do I have a stack of other meteorologists that I don't even have to think about? Like, and I'm not knocking meteorology, but again, it's competitive. I mean, we know people that have started in meteorology and, they end up on the Today Show or Good Morning America. I mean, you can get a huge career by starting at a smaller station and working your way up. And does this help or does it hurt the station? Kathleen asks an interesting question. Didn't he have a morals clause in his contract? Now, the article that I'm reading doesn't say it, but it wouldn't surprise me, especially a lot of these personal services contracts. It's basically, in a nutshell, don't embarrass us. Do not embarrass us. Like, don't make it about you. You're supposed to just work for the station. We don't want any negative publicity, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he is able to do it. And again, does it matter that he wasn't paid? Now, the politician you were talking about yesterday who had sex with her husband on camera for tips or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it worse if you get paid or you don't get paid?
I don't think it matters.
No?
Well,
because some people would say it's prostitution then, right? Like you're prostituting yourself.
And it's illegal to prostitute yourself, but technically they're donations, not, whatever.
Or tips.
There's a way around it.
Yeah, exactly.
But to me, it doesn't matter personally whether you get paid for it or whether you're just out there doing it for thrills and, cheap thrills. But it's the respect that you have when you go and try to do the people's business, right? Are people going to take you seriously when you're trying to do the business of your state? You're representing thousands of people in your district. And can you do the job effectively if you walk into a room and everyone's seen you stooping your husband up for tips online? Probably not.
It would be a hard image to get out of your mind. Yeah. Especially if it was graphic. You're like, ugh, can I ignore that part?
I mean, maybe I'm just juvenile, but I don't think that you can. I'd be looking at her like, oh.
It's like when you see that actor from Outlander. I'm sure that you just have that image of him and that's it, right? So, it's a hard one. But good luck to you, guy. I mean, it's a hard business to crack into. And so, I do feel for somebody in that business just trying to keep their career going because it takes a lot of work to get where you are, So.
Some news that broke about 9 minutes ago.
Uh-oh.
Mitt Romney says he will not be seeking re-election as a U.S. senator. So... yeah, he's done.
Oh, so I mean, I have mixed feelings about Mitt Romney. I always have. I've been happy that he's been sane on some things and insane on other things. Okay, well, there's somebody that knows when his time is up. So there you go. And he's from Utah. Maybe he wants to go back to the happy state, right? Isn't he from Utah?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's from Utah.
Bye,
What's
Mitt.
interesting is he voted twice to impeach Donald Trump.
Yes.
Right? He's been a very vocal critic of Trump. And so what's he going to do now? We don't know.
Yeah.
He says it's time for a new generation to step up.
And maybe he's just done with these yahoos in the Republican Party, too. I mean, the party's definitely jumped the shark. I will say this to the MTGs and all those people. So maybe he's like, you know what? I don't even know who these Republicans are anymore. I'm not saying that's what it is. He might just be done. But you can imagine him having more years. Given how long these politicians love to stay in freaking office. How old is he? Do you know how old Romney is? Does it say?
How old is he? He
I'm gonna say
76.
Oh, bye. Okay, never mind. Bye. Okay. He has broken my rule from yesterday. You can now mentor the next generation.
You're over the Nikki Medoro imposed age limit. Off you go into the great blue yonder.
You can still live a life. You're done. Okay?
Enjoy retirement. Thank you for your service.
Exactly. All right, you guys, click the thumbs up button before we end the show and make sure you stay on YouTube because the Mark Thompson Show is next. And then, of course, the After Party Live with Kim. You will find all of the links in the About section of this channel. Please go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Sign up to be a Medorable, an official Medorable. You get to choose your Patreon donation every single month, and we do appreciate it. And the raffle is going. It is a mystery box of my favorite things, and I make it worth your while, of course. It's a $20 per ticket entry to the raffle. Just send your donations, your raffle entries to the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. That's the PayPal link. So you have to go to PayPal. That's the email, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. I'll make the flyer bigger. I'll post it on my social media feed, so you'll have it there. It's $20 a ticket, and you can buy as many tickets as you want to win the box, which if you're within 50 miles, I will personally deliver to you. All right. We will talk tomorrow. We'll talk about the Rockland Unified School District and a bunch of other things. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.